It is 1 p.m. in East Africa, and this is Africa Live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Penina Karibe in Nairobi, also lined up this half hour. DR Congo crisis, rising tension in Goma following deployment of DRC government troops. And plotting a comeback, Namibia seek to reclaim regional champion status at COSAFA. Let's begin in Egypt, where at least 26 people have died across the country as Islamists opposed to the overthrow of President Mohamed Morsi took to the streets on Friday to vent their fury at what they say was a military coup. Fierce clashes in the Mediterranean city of Alexandria left 12 dead and 200 injured, while in Cairo, 5 people were killed as pro- and anti-Morsi protesters clashed as armored personnel carriers rumbled among them in a bid to restore calm. 5 police officers were gunned down in separate incidents in the North Sinai town of El Arish, and while it was not clear whether the attacks were linked to Morsi's ouster, hardline Islamists there have warned they would fight back. Tens of thousands of people marched across the country in what Morsi's Muslim Brotherhood movement called a Friday of Rage to demonstrate against his overthrow and the army-backed interim government being set up to prepare for new elections. Right now we cross over live to Tahrir Square. These are live pictures that we're getting from there. This, as you can see, was the scene of the deadly clashes yesterday. What we're telling you that at least 26 people have died, 4 of those reportedly there in Cairo. As you can see, looking a little bit calm and quiet right now, but also scenes they're depicting the battle that took place there yesterday in what the Muslim Brotherhood referred to as a Friday of Rage. We're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on these developments and keep you abreast of what's happening there. Now, as we said, Friday was dubbed a day of rage by supporters of deposed Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. Angry demonstrations were held in cities across the country against what they say is a military coup. Egyptian state television says 30 people have been killed in clashes nationwide, with 210 wounded. Morsi was removed from office by the Egyptian army on Wednesday, a year after he became Egypt's first democratically elected leader.
A day of rage. Thousands of Muslim Brotherhood supporters came out to show their anger at the ousting of Mohamed Morsi and the swift installation of an unelected interim leader. Leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, Mohamed Badi, urged supporters to continue protesting until Morsi is returned to power.
The army is now involved in politics once more, and we say to them, it's time for you to return to your people and protect the borders. This is your role. As for our role, we will, God willing, be open to anything once our elected President Mohamed Morsi is retained.
By Friday evening, the tension began to rise. Military vehicles raced onto one of Cairo's main bridges over the Nile to break up clashes between Morsi supporters and those celebrating his removal. Armored vehicles were also deployed on the 6th of October bridge near Tahrir Square in an attempt to disperse the crowds. Egypt's first freely elected president was toppled on Wednesday in what his supporters say was a military coup. It's the latest twist in the tumultuous 2 years since the fall of Hosni Mubarak in 2011. On Thursday, senior judge Adli Mansour was appointed as Egypt's interim president. In his first constitutional declaration on Friday, Mansour dissolved the Shura Council, which was dominated by Morsi's allies. Mansour also appointed a new head of intelligence and advisor for security affairs. Zhang Yajing, CCTV.
CCTV's Adele Mahou is live in Cairo and joins us from there. Adele, what is the situation in Cairo? Have the clashes ended, and do we know the exact number of casualties?
Well, the casualties so far seem stable as what you've said, a little bit over 20 dead and hundreds, maybe 500 and about 70 more injured in 19 governorates in Egypt. It was one of the biggest waves of violence that Egypt has witnessed through the past days, and as calm as it is right now, many expect that another wave of violence would return as long as there are protesters taking the streets whenever there's one closer to the other, whether here in Cairo, Tahrir Square specifically, where yesterday we've seen a lot of deadly clashes, or anywhere else. This is always a very exciting place for protesters to show their support to the other side, which irritates their opponents, and therefore is always an igniter for violence.
Adele, another big story expected from Cairo today is the retrial of former President Hosni Mubarak. What's the latest?
Well, the trial is ongoing right now. The judge has listened to or has made the prosecution say the demands of the defense team as they have issued them in the last session. This is the fourth session of the Mubarak trial. It's entirely a retrial for the former president after he has appealed for the life sentence that he and his former Interior Minister Habib al-Adli has received for the first trial. Also, there are 6 aides accused of corruption, accused of killing the protesters and embezzlement. There are many charges there, but basically the main charge now that the judge will concentrate upon is only the criminal trial. And he insisted today that the trial will continue until a verdict with a live broadcast, stressing that this is the right for the Egyptian people and a transparency right should be given to them after their revolution, after building the new Egypt that they're trying to achieve. So as we speak, it is still ongoing, and very soon we will know when the next session will be.
Indeed, Adele, thanks very much for giving us those updates. Adele Makroui, live in Cairo. And this is Africa Live. Let's take a break when we come back. Divine intervention. Mandela's family holds special prayers for the ailing icon. And glitz beyond the gloom, we look at 2 upcoming movies about Nelson Mandela's life.
We follow the latest trends in global politics, economics, culture and sport, and how Africa fits into the global picture. You decide what's important.
We need a trade justice.
Africa's future will be determined by Africa.
For women's equal opportunity, for a better life.
We have to change something, and it's not the outsiders.
Talk Africa, a new voice for the world.
Welcome back. Members of Nelson Mandela's family attended a special church service in Johannesburg on Friday, where they prayed for the former president's survival. Mandela's ex-wife, Winnie, and daughter Zinzil lit candles and listened intently as the priest urged the family to come together. The family has been riven by a feud over whether the anti-apartheid icon should be buried, where he should be buried. Early this week, 15 Mandela relatives, including his 3 daughters and wife Graça Machel, won a court order to rebury the remains of his 3 deceased children on Wednesday. Mandela's oldest grandson, Mandla, had moved the graves from Mandela's childhood village, Kunu, to his own nearby homestead in Vezo 2 years ago without the family's permission.
At this moment, our hearts are heavy, dear Lord, for the health of one of your servants, our leader. Nelson Mandela is fragile. We invite your spirit to flow through all concerned, that even at this difficult moment, through the tears and moments of wonder and doubt, we may see nothing but your greatness.
Yes, we hope for the best. That is fine for his age. And can you get in? Thanks, Mama.
Former South African President Nelson Mandela is a global icon, and due to this, UK film producers have geared up to produce 2 movies that will depict the apartheid hero. Idris Elba says he was honored to be chosen to play the lead in the upcoming biopic Mandela, The Long Walk to Freedom. Here's Jen Kerr with more details.
He made his name in the wire, but now actor Idris Elba has spoken in his honor in following the footsteps of Nelson Mandela. The London-born actor plays the apartheid hero in Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom.
Absolutely more connected, but I think I was always connected with him and his story, and I was completely honoured to play the role, completely honoured.
Described as an epic biopic, the film spans Mandela's life from his childhood to his election as president of South Africa. Elba, currently starring in a sci-fi movie Pacific Rim, is joined by Skyfall star Naomi Harris as Winnie Mandela. The leader of South Africa's anti-apartheid movement, Mandela spent 27 years in prison during white minority rule. He was freed in 1990 and became South Africa's first black president in 1994. But Long Walk to Freedom is not the only new movie that touches on Mandela's life and struggles.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
In 2009, Morgan Freeman acted as Mandela in Invictus, which depicted a unique venture taken by Mandela to unite the apartheid-torn land. He enlisted the national rugby team on a mission to win the 1995 Rugby World Cup.
I was thinking about how you spent 30 years in the Tawny South and come out ready to forgive the people who put you there. I am the master of my fate.
Jane Keo, CCTV.
All right, to Mali now. The army re-entered the Tuareg separatist rebel stronghold of Kidal on Friday, touching off protests by some residents. Mali's interim government signed a peace deal with representatives of the Tuaregs in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, in mid-June, paving the way for national elections to take place at the end of this month. Under the peace pact, the rebels remain in Kidal, but were required as of Friday to return to the barracks under the supervision of UN peacekeepers, carrying no more arms in public and dismantling all roadblocks. The Tuaregs seized control of Kidal after a French military offensive in January routed a loose Islamist militant coalition that was controlling northern Mali. Inhabitants of the remote northern desert town said some 200 Malian soldiers aboard 20 pickup trucks arrived at Kidal's military camp. Tensions are high in North Kivu's capital, Goma, following deployment of DRC government troops near M23 rebel bases. The group's president, Bertrand Bisimwa, is concerned this may delay the peace process. Bisimwa made these remarks at the rebel base in Bunagana in an exclusive interview with CCTV. CCTV's Hilary Ayasiga with details of that interview.
Just 2 weeks after the M23 rebel movement returned to Ugandan capital Kampala, ready to resume talks with the Kinshasa administration, they announced that reaching a peace deal soon is unlikely. Speaking at their base in Bunagana, M23 President Bertrand Bisimwa blamed the delay in a peace deal on the DRC's lack of interest in the talks.
Hata sisi wenyewe tumechoka.
Even us here, we are beginning to get tired.
Angalia delegation yetu ambayo inakuwa hapo Kampala.
Look at our delegation that has been waiting in Kampala. They are waiting. Who are they waiting for? The delegation from Kinshasa has refused to meet them. We have been waiting there for 2 months while they went to the UN to look for military support to come and fight us.
Tukikuwa tukingoja wakati wao walikuwa wakienda kwenye UN kutafuta vikosi vya kutupiga.
The rebels control a small town close to Goma, North Kivu's provincial capital. Government forces are said to have increased their presence close to the rebel bases, and Bisimwa believes Kinshasa is regrouping for an attack.
Vikosi ambao wanaleta kwenye eneo speech,
the groups they have been bringing in, the soldiers and the weapons they are deploying, the speeches the governors of Goma and Bukavu are making every day is showing this time they want to erase M23 from DRC. All these are proof that they want war and their plan is war.
Kunakuwa dalili za vita na mpango wao ni vita tu.
The M23 is losing patience and warns it won't sit back if attacked. Locals here are concerned the situation may turn violent.
There is no one who can reject peace in our country or even in other countries. If somebody asks you to choose between war and peace, can you choose war? For us, we want peace. If it's possible, we want peace all the time.
We are scared. We are in the middle of the problem. The other time things changed, people fled, and we are worried that any time they can fight. We're praying hard that they don't start fighting again.
Last month, the DRC government responded to allegations that they had deployed troops after it was reported M23 rebels were planning fresh attacks on government posts. These exchanges come weeks after the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon visited the Great Lakes region and urged both parties to return to the discussion table. The M23 rebel movement now says these developments appear like Kinshasa is more inclined to the military option than the political solution, which may attract more uncertainty. Hilary Yesiga, CCTV, Kampala.
All right, we'll take another break here on Africa Live, and when we return,